Well, welcome back to ScrubCast. I am here. Of course, my name is Sulak with Wildking. Wildking, how you doing today?
Pretty good. Been a interesting day. Lots of stuff going on.
We've been doing some VOD reviews over at twitch.tv/Sulak with an underscore. And well, we have been playing a little bit Overwatch recently, and of course the beta is nearing its end, our second beta for Overwatch 2. Of course, I guess we've all had our thoughts about the game, and we all kind of. It's no longer brand new anymore. I guess this is kind of where I'm going with this. Um, I guess Wild, do you have any major thoughts about Overwatch 2?
I mean, just in general, I'm excited for something new to the game. Well, and I know we've talked about it before, and you always start with the same question, and I feel like I have the same answer every time, but the more and more I play this beta, I'm just waiting for October. Waiting to see what else comes out with that new support character, see what other ideas that they have that are coming out. Some of the recent changes that they just did in the patch, I'm interested in those. Just seeing how they play, how they combo. So, a lot of interesting, unique things there.
It's
Trying to
well, it
learn and
feels
understand them.
it does just feel like Overwatch still to me, and I think that's something that maybe I guess I predicted, but I like now that I've been kind of used to playing Overwatch 2, I do miss playing Overwatch a little. Well, even though Overwatch already exists as a game that I can jump into and play, but I don't know. I'm still really conflicted about it. Like, I'm so excited for all of the PvE stuff that they're talking about, but we haven't seen any of that yet. So who the hell knows what's going on with that? But from actually playing the game, I seem to have the same amount of fun playing Overwatch or Overwatch 2. I don't know about you. Do you like one more than the other, or what has your been experience? What has been your experience there?
I'm definitely still leaning towards the original Overwatch, mostly just because of competitive and being able to play with people in a skill rating that I'm used to, where I'm not getting bronze players to top 500 players, and the games feel a little more fluid. People know what's going on, and it's easier. Overwatch 2, there's a lot of chaos right now. Because there's a lot of people trying stuff out, trying new things, and it's hard to play in a structured team setting.
Like in terms of meta too, I still from the very start feel like Sigma is probably the strongest thing, and that's kind of how you generally play, or strongest tank, and that's generally how you play Overwatch in terms of competitive. Is you pick the strongest things that work in the most situations. You don't really hyper focus on specific team composition. So I don't feel like it's really changed in terms of how we see the meta in terms of competitive, right? Like really all we are is waiting as competitive players is waiting for the competitive release of Overwatch 2. I don't know if there's more to go in about the competitive because we have you heard more, and I haven't heard more at all about the new competitive system.
No, I don't think we've heard anything else about it. At least I haven't. So, just wait and see at this point.
What
See what's coming.
I hear rumors from like SVB's podcasts that they are changing up the competitive and having a whole new system, but again, from last time, it feels to me too like Blizzard pretended they gave us more content than they actually did, or more stuff than they actually did. I paid for the I paid for the beta. I gave them my money. Whatever. I'm gonna buy Overwatch 2 anyways. Well, I was gonna get it anyways, so whatever. I'll get it early on. Don't have to think about it later. But that's the only reason why I got it. I'm not overly. This is one of those things. I don't really pre-order games. Uh, have you done any of the pre-ordering? Have you paid for that, or is that something that like give positive, negative responses to how Blizzard has released these betas over the past while?
I I understand it from the developer side of things. It's been a long time since Overwatch specifically has asked for money to play a game. This game has been out for a very long time, and they need something to boost revenue streams for them to get this going. And I'm down to support that, but I'm right there with you where I normally do not pre-order stuff. Last time someone asked me to pre-order something, it was Fallout 76, and I think anyone that does anything with gaming knows how that went. It
Like,
was not good.
I wouldn't even be hurt too. Well, it would be obviously something Blizzard would not do, but if they came out and they said, "Well, we don't have enough money. Here, look, like this is how much we've made. Oh, obviously they made tons, but they're like, we can't support the game in any way. A whole new structure. We do need to like pre-fund or crowd-fund a very start." I would look very suspiciously at it, but as somebody who plays Overwatch all the time, yeah, you're right. We've played for free for so long. They do need to ask us for money at some point in time.
Yeah, and I mean that's just the nature of the beast, really. I think a lot of people do forget that of these are people making these games, this is their job, and there has to be monetary value in it for them to release this game.
Which hopefully, and of course, I think we've been very much spoiled by other game companies and all the content they've given out recently. I've actually been playing on more Apex Legends, as an Overwatch player does every once in a while, and it feels like there's a whole bunch of new stuff. It's interesting because I've talked to people who haven't played Overwatch in a while, and they feel like there's a whole bunch of new stuff, anyways. So I do believe like the boundary between what's Overwatch 2 and what's the original Overwatch isn't. It was going to be fairly blurry for a lot of people, a lot of new players coming in, especially if they don't. I don't know if they don't do something crazy with the PvE. I hate to ask, I haven't asked before, but have you seen anything about the PvE? I have not seen a single damn thing from Blizzard. It's just been beta, and then we don't even know what's in this thing that I don't even know what's in this thing that I just know that it accessed the beta early, and I can get some footage, and it'd be really cool.
Yeah, the only thing that we know about the PvE is what was released in that very first release of the announcement of Overwatch 2, which has been a while. Since then, they've been working on it a lot. Everything we saw might be scrapped and they're working on something completely different for it. So, at this point, I don't think anyone knows what to expect.
It's so secret.
And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
You don't think it's a bad? Okay. So you think it's a good? Yeah, that they hide absolutely everything and don't show their hand all at once. The problem is they haven't shown any, like literally anything. I don't know. I'm starting. I'm losing my hype a little bit. You know, I think a lot of other people are losing their hype. I'm excited for the revamped changes, and the engine feels smoother and movement feels smoother. And I'm even gonna do some tests too with some aerial stuff. Probably not as footage, but just personally go in there and see, because they changed up how like the maximum speed works for not projectiles, but for your own personal movement when you're like, so for example, Junkrat goes a lot faster with the double mine now, which is fairly interesting. I haven't messed around with it. But other than like trying to look into the content in terms of like a developer, I don't know. I feel like again we're back to making your own content, which I really wish. I'm kind of rambling right now, but I wish Blizzard give us more stuff to work with. Like your community will build content for you, and we're just sitting waiting. I think a lot of other people are. The excitement. Yeah, I'm just. Anyways, okay, let's talk about Heroes. Let's go into it. I don't want to go too much into technical stuff because it's just the same stuff over and over again. But Junker Queen, Yes, no, Wild. I don't feel like she's gonna like. From what I've seen on streams and stuff, she's not that powerful anymore.
No, people are figuring out how to deal with her. She's unique for sure, and she's got the gimmick of healing herself and those around her with that tick damage, but as soon as you know what to look for with her axe swing and are where to dodge that knife, she doesn't get that value that I think everyone was excited for, and she really does fall off in all of these other tank comps that can just walk on her for free.
The shield is just too important, in my opinion.
Yeah. Any kind of shield, even with the Orisa, with her mini defense matrix that she's got now, it just shuts Junker Queen down.
I don't know how to fix that because the ability to just eat damage in competitive especially is extremely valuable. Now I can see how they could balance, like I can see, hear me out, how something like that would be absolutely crazy in the Overwatch PvE.
Oh yeah.
Like Junker Queen would be so fun. And I can imagine the upgrades, the changes. Like as a character, her potential is through the roof, but we haven't been seeing much. You said actually earlier that you played an Overwatch 2 scrim. What tanks were being played?
Sigma, Zarya were big ones. Map dependent, definitely. Monkey. We played some Gibraltar, so Monkey came out for sure. And there was a bit of Junker Queen, but I feel like every time she came out, she just got stomped on by whoever was on the other tank. I think there's tank matchups she does really good in against, but most of them I don't think they hold up.
Well, I play a lot of tank, and I feel like whenever I'm playing against it, especially again with Sigma, it's just like, what are you gonna do? Right? Oh no, I got hit by this axe. My health is slowly going down. Well, I have a Lucio or a Brig or whatever. I'll just stand there and heal it up and do what I normally do. Like there's no threat. Like even actually, you know what's sad? We've totally missed, and we're looking at two right now in terms of our thing. Sojourn. Like, yeah. I was hoping for at the very start that we would have, and because I don't have a big revelation or whatever on it, but I was hoping maybe like some Wild, please mention these new heroes because they didn't really impact. Or doesn't, I know it's obviously the game's super chaotic right now, but it doesn't feel like they impacted the way we play that much. But I think maybe it's a good thing.
Sojourn, I think we haven't talked about her much because she isn't all that new. The movement ability is nice. It's very unique and very cool to have in the game, but she's just a reverse soldier at the end of the day.
Exactly.
A little more skill heavy, and I think you get rewarded with that with her ultimate, but she doesn't feel very different from what we're used to. She fits into the game exactly where you'd think. And I don't know, there's not much else to say there. She is strong. She's very strong. She's I believe right now for Overwatch League, she's the meta. Every team has a Sojourn running. And she's versatile, but it's not any crazy unique abilities that have never been seen in the game.
We're not looking at like a Sombra ultimate where everybody's like, whoa, oh my god, she takes our abilities out, and or we're not looking at a ball minefield where it's like, wow, now we have like a zone that's completely out of use from the fight unless you fight your way through these mines. Like it's like, well, she shoots more and she's more dangerous, and then when you die to her, it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, I guess I just died to a Sojourn. It's not like having a Junkrat tire where it's in your face, and it seems she seems like a very straightforward hero. So what I did want to talk about too, and I guess we will talk about, that opens up a whole new section for overlapping heroes in the Overwatch meta.
Yeah.
Would it be possible to have, and I don't even know, I'm just spitting it out there, like an inverse, well, I guess Diva is kind of an inverse Reinhardt, an opposite Reinhardt, but you could totally take a lot of these characters and make small variations of them and still have them as usable, I think. I think there's no, we're getting to the point, God, I don't know if it was you, but it was someone that I was talking with a long time ago where it was like, I hope we get to the point where there's so many heroes that you can almost like you can almost play anything with some reliable overlap if there's a very like something that you need to play just out of what you have. Because right now, if somebody plays, for example, like if someone plays Cassidy, then they might not play Junkrat, right?
Yeah.
But the ability to switch to a hero that can get to positions like Junkrat can, but the same kind of, I guess, well, the hit scan style, and the same relative like mobility, right, would be someone like a Sojourn. So there's some overlap there, right? There's not, like, I don't know. I think it's a good phase for Overwatch, where in the old days we had complete separation. Remember people used to talk about how unique every single hero was?
And I mean, there's only so much you can do to make these unique heroes, right? To still be in the realm of sci-fi, but it's feasible. Like it makes sense in the lore that they've built that these characters can do what they do. And I don't think any of them really step over those bounds with their abilities and how they play. And at a certain point, I don't think there's much more we can add to that to make that realistic and still fit with the game and how we want to play it.
It feels to me, yeah, it feels to me like now we're just going to be mixing those abilities together. Like, for example, imagine like a tank that had like a Moira ultimate as a main ability, right? Like you can actually, and that's what we're saying, where like she fills the role of, and even though it's of course in the DPS category, but she fills the role of other DPS characters without having to, I don't know, have anything crazy unique to get around. It's a new world of Overwatch, I feel. I don't know. I, for one, personally though, think maybe a classic Overwatch would be somewhat worth it, or somewhat fun.
But yeah, there's definitely going to be that player base for classic Overwatch that, I mean, I'd be playing it for sure.
Because they've mentioned too, I'm sorry, I'm just kind of spitballing here, but like they've mentioned too about having some kind of classic Overwatch in Overwatch 2, which would be, I don't really know. It like right now, it's hard too because there's so little information, and I think it comes back to just I'm a little bit also frustrated with Blizzard not giving us so little information, even though the beta itself was fun. Yeah, damn. Well, transition. Okay. Last major topic. Overwatch OG, because I want. Sorry, I got. Okay, I didn't transition it that well. We're not gonna cut it. We're going through wild. Original Overwatch. Have you been playing that at all recently?
I've been pretty busy at work. I've played a little bit here and there. I've kind of submitted myself to custom games, and messing around in quick play.
I've noticed that with a lot of people too. Me myself is the same thing. I'll jump on every once in a while and kind of play some quick play games, maybe play a comp game here and there. Maybe every once in a while a night with a few of the friends on the Discord. I still love the game, but it is, I don't know. It's not a huge part of my life of what it used to be. Um, do you think that is like, do you think that is something that is more of like something Blizzard can deal with, or something that we as the community have to like step up and go, hey, like as I've mentioned before in the past, I just want to keep like where yeah, as I've mentioned before in the past, where it's like if we want to have the game, it needs to be our game. It shouldn't be Blizzard's game, right? Do you think that's something that we as the community need to step up to the plate and really run with? Or is that something that if Blizzard lets the games just kind of die on their own and Overwatch just whatever, that, yeah, well, where do you see the responsibility lie here?
The player base is still there. They should continue to do updates with it. Even if it's just, they don't need to release heroes, but if you have updates to original heroes in Overwatch 1 or in Overwatch 2, just add them to the Overwatch 1 update. See how that changes stuff.
That'd be crazy.
Because it's definitely going to change the game, being that it's balance patches for 5v5, and it'll mix stuff up. I feel like, and this is a double-edged sword, but I feel like at a certain point, you have to give the update that unbalances so that you can continue to balance. Because otherwise the game itself just becomes stagnant.
Like, is your lack of playing it too like something that if you were given a whole year to just take off and play Overwatch, you had that option, like would you do it? Would you just go for it, or would you, like, because I know for sure if it was a few years ago I'd be like yes, absolutely. I kind of did during COVID, not gonna lie. So, but
I think I would.
You would? You would go for it and just jump into the game and play and go, okay. I'm on the fence right now. Like that's the problem too, is I feel like the game is in like two phases where it could absolutely bomb and they'd have no content, because honestly the original I'm trying not to be too negative today either. I'm trying not to rant too much. But like the original events, I'm not gonna lie, they were kind of crap, weren't they?
Oh yeah.
In hindsight,
They felt like something that the team just kind of threw together as a pitch of, oh, maybe we try this. And it didn't really feel fleshed out. And it really, at the end of the day, it just came down to, okay, you got 4 people and you're going to kill robots. And the robots weren't particularly difficult. It was pretty easy to make your way through it if you had any amount of coordination. It didn't even have to be a lot, just any amount could get you through that pretty easily. So
it's if they
really
build
hoping it.
that's what gets me. If they build anything like that, then it's like games have come so far since then too. Like I'm so again, I just don't want to be spending this entire cast ripping on the game, but I'm getting really frustrated with how little seems to be going on, when I feel like even my Minecraft server has had more updates and more, like I've done more content and stuff like that for my thing than Blizzard has done in the past while. It's like, and I know it's a big deal for a company this large to move, but when you look at the past events, and they didn't change them at all. They didn't update them. Even like the the Halloween event. what are they going to do for the Halloween event this year? Right? Like, it doesn't. If they just go back and do.
First time.
Oh,
Let's do it for the third time.
oh my god! Like, how? I don't know. I'm very 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 skeptical. I feel like we're being gaslit a little bit as to how much content they've given us. But I'm so confident in the developers. That's one thing. Actually, let me split that out then. I'm very skeptical about Blizzard as an entity and what they're telling us, and I think what they're telling us doesn't feel very honest. But I know the developers are so good at what they do, and they're so good at polishing things, and they're so dedicated to bringing us a quality product that whatever we get hopefully will be really good. Hopefully. It's just what angle really good is, because there's really good stuff. Like I say, maybe potentially there's some depth to the events so far, and there kind of is with like replayability, understanding kind of what composition you have, understanding what things come out. But that's not really what makes a fun FPS game, right? Like a fun co-op FPS game. I like. You can always interject Wild here too, but like a good co-op FPS game to me is something that you guys kind of bust through in 1 or 2 tries, maybe 3 tries, and it's still really hard, but it feels super awesome to do it. Whereas like the events, if you did it on any easy difficulty, you just went through it and it wasn't fun at all. But if you put it on the really hard difficulty, it was fun, but almost impossible. And if that's where Overwatch 2 lies, maybe we're going to be... I'm going to be very skeptical. That's a good direction.
And I've played a lot of that, where you've got that co-op with 5 or 6 people, and you're fighting robots with TF2 MVM. And I've played a lot of it, more than I'd care to admit. And with the group that I play with, we've been playing it since it came out, consistently. I can say with 100% certainty we have changed up parts of the meta for that game, because we have played it so much and we've done so many things there of messing around and giving ourselves challenges. And I'm just now getting to that point where I think I've done it all. So there's always going to be that replayability there on the co-op side of it, where you do different upgrades, you make a different build, you do it in different ways. Master it first on the hardest difficulty with what the quote-unquote meta is, and then make it harder for yourself. Find new ways to beat it. I think that's the key to those games, to keep the replayability for yourself. Because otherwise, yeah, it does get boring.
Well, that's where I'm really curious, and I want to drag this information out of you, especially with your experience at TF2. Like, why is TF2? Why was MVM so different than the events that we had?
It's the upgrades and the basic coordination that has to happen to make certain things work. Like, in your generic comp for TF2, you have a medic and NG for both ammo and heals, as well as the Kritzkrieg to get critical hits consistently. You then, in the perfect meta, have a soldier who is giving you different types of buffs depending on what banner he runs, with either the conch or the buff banner, for either giving you heals and speed, or he's actively giving you more critical hits to do more damage. And then demo mans or snipers have always been kind of interchangeable, where their job is to kill the enemy medics. You have burst damage, and you are good at hitting that big group of targets that's walking towards you. And then you have your scout, and you almost always have to have a scout because scouts pick up money, and money is how you upgrade. So someone always has to take the role of scout, and you can do it without a scout, but you need coordination on the team. Then you might run another soldier, or you might run a pyro or a spy that can get to the back line with relative ease to actually pick up the money.
And that's interesting too. Let's highlight that for a moment. There seems to be like a level of complexity that, even though there was a little bit of that in the Overwatch 2 events, it felt like you could almost pick anything and steamroll your way through, unless you were playing on the hardest difficulty, where the composition you had either just steamrolled it or didn't do anything at all. Especially even with the well, of course they had the different variations on them, but it's like almost not. It's not enjoyable to come across one of those giant tank things in the anniversary events, right? Like, they're not fun because everybody has to just shoot this giant thing over and over again, and there's not much else anybody's doing. So yeah, I'm trying. Okay, we'll end this here, because I could spend. I've been thinking about this a lot this week, and I could spend probably forever just kind of complaining about little tiny things and actually saying nothing at all, while still being simultaneously relatively excited for all the new upgrades and changes that we're seeing. And again, in terms of just chess, I like having a smoother chess game. I don't care too much about chess too. So yeah, that being said, Wild, as usual though, if you had one thing you wanted to tell the developers, what would it be? What are you concerned about? What are you thinking about?
Give us more info.
More info? Yep.
Tell us what's going on, because we know the date and we're excited about it, but as a gamer, I can speak with relative confidence for other gamers. We are impatient. We just want to know.
Even let's get art. I know you guys don't want to release like Heroes, but we've seen Sojourn on like whatever the screen on. I can't remember what exact video it was, but it was one of like the recall videos, I believe. Like, we've seen her before. We've seen this character. We've seen Junker Queen. We heard about Junker Queen for a long time. So this stuff feels like just old content. Why can't you just show us stuff that you're gonna release in 2 years? Like, that's fine with me if we see characters like that you might never release. Like, let's even see things about that. It just doesn't. Yeah, it's just nothing at all is so frustrating as fun.
Got some more lore.
Yes. Comics. Anything. Something. Please. All right. Well, with that, thank you so much, Wild, for coming out. I guess listening to me rant the entire time again about how frustrated I am. But that being said, guys, if you do enjoy listening to this, patreon.com/scrubclub helps out a lot. You join us, you get other perks, other things on the Discord, Minecraft server, other games that we come out with, other servers we come out with, there's stuff and things. And anyways, of course, this is stuff and things. Exactly. This is going up on the Scrub Club Media YouTube channel, so check it out there. A little bit later, we're doing Sunday Scrub Club Scraps. So if you guys like Overwatch, come out and join us. We put people in the box and make them fight to the death. It's good times, good fun.
I hate it so much.
Wild loves it. Actually, it's
the box is hell.
It's because I make him play characters he doesn't play, and it's awesome. So, anyways, thank you guys so much for coming out, and we'll kill it there. Peace out, guys.